Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode. Today we are looking at survival mode, which is available through the Creation Club. It was free, it may still be free at the time of this video going up, but possibly not. If it's not free, then you've got to pay $5.99 for 750 credits, even though it's only 500 credits. You all know my feelings on microtransactions and artificial currencies. This is one of the things that really annoys me, is it doesn't just tell you the price of the mini DLC. It disguises it behind a premium currency or whatever you want to call it, and oftentimes you can't just buy the amount of currency that you need. I have discussed this in more detail on my B3 reaction video, so if you want to hear me rant about that a bit more, go and check that out. Before we begin, you are going to need to download the unofficial Skyrim survival patch, or some elements of this Creation Club mod won't work because it isn't fully compatible with all your other mods. Something else I discussed in that B3 rant video, but it is easily fixed with this patch. It's something to do with the unofficial Elder Scrolls patch, which makes the food items not work properly in the game, but easily fixed. Let's move on. So basically, survival mode can be enabled and disabled at any time, but it basically just makes the game a bit more challenging. It adds the need to eat, sleep and stay warm. It also changes a few other things which we will discuss later in the video, but first let's cover eating. So basically, as time progresses, you will get hungry and you have to eat meals to replenish that hunger, or sacrifice some of your stamina bar. It also means that you will attack slower with weapons and do less damage with weapons as well. And it's a mechanic that I really like because it gives a reason to all the food stuff in the game. I've never really bothered with it before. I just use potions and stuff like that. But now that you actually have to have food on you to prepare meals, and prepare meals beforehand as well, it's really interesting to have that side of it added into the game. As you can see here, I'm absolutely destroying somebody's farm just to get one potato. I'm not desperate for food. But even if you do find food, it's not really enough, because as you can see there, these are only doing 2 points of hunger replenishment, which isn't a lot. It's minute in fact, and it may stave off hunger for a very short while, but you need to have pre-cooked proper meals. So you're gonna have to prepare all that before you go out on your adventures, because one of the things that's also disabled is there's no fast travel, so you can't just jump straight back into town or civilization to buy food or prepare food. So you have to do it all before you go, and it's another element of planning which I really like being added into the game. And it also makes inns a vital function of cities now, because you're going to need to go into an inn to warm up, probably get a good night's sleep, and also buy food and prepare food, because you got to be completely drained of like your energy and all that stuff. So it, like I said, inns have just become bastions of refuge now, to sit by a warm fire and buy some proper meals. And if you look at the stat box on the apple pie there, you'll see that it does over 220 points of hunger. So that, compared to 2 points for a raw potato or leek, is the world of difference. And that's why I said that it's so important to prepare your meals before you leave, because one apple pie can save your life. And another thing that we need to go into is the fact that you can't just eat raw meat. There's a chance that you're going to get food poisoning from it, which is just going to completely ruin your day, because not only do you have to wait for this effect to wear off, but you're also going to have your stamina bar being drained at the same time, and any food that you do take won't be as effective. And next we're going to talk about fatigue. Fatigue is how tired you are, and it affects your magicka bar. It also affects how quickly your stamina and magicka regenerate as well. So Not only that, but potions may not be as effective and spells also may not be as effective. So basically this means getting a good night's sleep every day. I don't think that just sleeping in any old bedroll is going to cut it either, because if the bed is outside, you're going to take a penalty and it's not going to be as effective as sleeping at home in a warm bed or in an inn. So again, the game is really punishing you for something that usually you would just discard to one side and not pay any attention to. I mean, how many people have actually gone through the effort of sleeping in a bed unless they were doing it for the purposes of a quest? Now it's something you're going to have to pay attention to every day. And this brings us on to the final of the big changes, which is cold. You're going to have to try and keep your body temperature up, otherwise you're going to take penalties to your health and your movement speed. You can do this in a couple of ways, like making sure that your armor has a good warmth rating, which you can check in the stat box, and you can eat soup, or the main way to do it is to stand by a fire and wait until your body temperature goes back up. You can use other mods to help with this. Cloaks and Capes is a mod that has recently just had an update to work with this, and that also adds to your warm rating as well, as you can see there in the stat box. It adds an additional 54 points of warmth. That combined with your armor should be enough to hold off the majority of the cold, but it's still something that you're going to have to take in consideration when you're in cold areas, and especially if it means jumping into water, because this is just going to drain your temperature very, very quickly. Cold is one of the new stat boosts that can kill you as well. You can die from exposure if you don't get your body temperature back up before your HP hits 0. You can see the frost forming on the Dragonborn here on his hands and his weapon. It's also a great representation to show you just how cold you are. But you also get icons just above, just next to the compass, which will tell you if your body temperature is going up or down. And let me tell you that waiting is something that you should take very, very seriously now, because just waiting a couple of hours will absolutely decimate your stats. Your hunger, your body temperature, and your fatigue can all be affected, especially if you're in a cold climate. I used enhanced lights and FX, which makes the night very dark in this game, so sometimes I'll wait till daylight so that I can see a bit better and not get ambushed. But now that's not an option. I'm gonna have to try and navigate the dark, because waiting a couple of hours for the sun to rise can be devastating. All of these mechanics, despite how I might have made it sound, aren't that intrusive on your game. It's just something that you've got to be mindful of, especially when you go out on big quests. But they do start to have an effect when you realise that you just can't fast travel, and making it home after a long journey is just one of the most gratifying things I've done in the game. One of the other changes is carry weight. Your carry weight is now greatly reduced. I use the Bondoliers mod, which adds a lot more to the base carry weight of the game, so it didn't affect me too much. But you do have to be mindful of the fact that lockpicks and arrows and crossbow bolts all have a weight now, so you're gonna have to ration things like that, and going out with hundreds of arrows may not be an option anymore. It also means that you're gonna have to have a lot less kit on you, so a lot less potions, especially when you consider the fact that you now have to have food on you to make sure that you don't starve. It just really starts to add up, but it adds up in a fun way, where it certainly adds a nice challenge to late level characters. I can't really speak for starting as a new character how this would affect you, but since the combat hasn't been made any more difficult, it should be very manageable. And as I said, everything that's been added in is a nice addition to the game. As I mentioned before, you can get food poisoning from eating raw meat, but the diseases have also been reworked. They're a lot more debilitating now, and there's different levels of disease depending on how long it takes for you to cure it. You can also get effects like weakness, which will impact your stats even more. And now you have to go to a shrine more often to make sure that you're clear of disease. But guess what? Now they need an offering of 100 gold to heal. You need to make sure that you don't get any of these afflictions, especially if you're a stealth character, because if you've got frostbite, then picking locks and trying to pickpocket people is going to be much more difficult with shivering hands. So it all adds up. I have to admit, I thought survival mode was going to just be a throwaway feature that people who are after a hardcore experience were going to use, but it doesn't feel like that at all. It really adds a new aspect to the game, even if you're only playing it on normal difficulty. None of the combat is actually made more difficult through this mod. So it's not like enemies are going to be one hit killing you. It just all comes down to survival and planning ahead before you go out on quests. And it is really fun. I highly recommend it. It's a pity that it's locked behind the paywall on the Creation Club. But perhaps someone's going to make a free version of it soon, and then we'll see how Bethesda handle copycat mods. But if you're willing to spend the £5 it's going to take, or I'm not sure how many dollars it'll be to get this mod if you've missed the free period, then I do feel that you won't be let down by it, especially if everything I've said in this video appeals to you. So that's it. Thanks for watching another episode, guys. As always, if you do have any requests, just drop a comment in the comment section, and I'll certainly consider covering it for you. And see you next time.